Alright, well, hello everyone. My name is Matt, and, well, this is going to be my first attempt at a video ever. So, as you can tell, I love video gaming. Whether it be just simple SNES or NES or even the PlayStation 4. Today I'd like just to highlight some of the very few games that I enjoyed. Starting off with the very first game that got me hooked. Sorry, there isn't going to be there are any little captions for like videos because I'm not very good at editing or anything like that. So it's just going to be me showing you guys some games and me talking about them. So, getting into it. Very first RPG I ever played when I was a kid was this one right here. Secrets of Evermore. A lot of people think it was a controversial title just for the simple fact that a lot of people like Secrets of Mana better. I have yet to play it. Still one of them on my list to get. But, all in all, a lot of the references in this game I didn't quite get, being 6, 7. But all in all, as an RPG, I enjoyed it. And then learned something that was kind of nice, well, kind of neat, when I was older, now, playing through it again. But in the second stage, you go to this desert area. Well, you got fighting this Coliseum. Well, in the stands, there is a little, like, Easter egg of Final Fantasy characters when you're fighting this giant dude named Tiny. Well, pretty dope. But you get this dog, and you're a boy, and you go through 5 different areas. You go through a jungle, a desert, a medieval city. Well, no, it is 4. Because the last area is up in space. And every single time you change to a different area, your dog changes. So, like, the first area, he looks like a big old husky. Second, he looks like a greyhound. Third area, he's a poodle. And then the last one, he looks like a robotic dog toaster, which is pretty dope. But anyways, on to the next game. This game, I ended up playing a little bit, forgot all about it, didn't even realize that it was a Final Fantasy. Sorry for the glare, but I love this game. Between the characters, just the story arc, I have yet to finish this one yet, by the way. I've gotten quite a ways, because it took me a little bit to get my hands on it, but I finally got it for my birthday one year. Not that long ago. But the combat's decent. It's a turn-based RPG. The characters are amazing. You end up starting off the game in a play, and you're trying to kidnap the princess. Well, she ends up wanting to just go with you because she does not like her mother. And just the growth of the characters and how they decide to tackle the story is amazing. But the only gripe that I've heard about this game is that the battle system was a little bit slow, and then the trances, which are like your buffs, just kind of happen automatically. But all in all, I'd say that with this one, I'd give it a 8.5 out of 10. This one, a solid 9. Now, this one was one of my very first Persona games I ever played. I enjoyed it immensely. The characters are decent. It's definitely mysterious because it revolves around a bunch of murders that happen as you get sent to Inaba, the town, and the main protagonist, which is you, end up going in and out of TVs to these dungeons to basically, like, the first area is a castle with her, I can't remember her name, but she ends up seeing her shadow, which is basically all her deepest desires. So basically, say for me, my deepest desire would be like passion, or just things that I guess that isn't a very good explanation. The best way to put it would be like all the emotions that you normally wouldn't tell people, that how you feel about things. That was what her shadow was, but how she would act to other people would be completely different. And the way they go about this game is when they kind of deny who they are, it manifests into its own person, and then the shadow tries to take over and destroy the person. But the mystery behind it is what got me hooked. It really did. And the story is phenomenal. I suggest if you were to get an RPG for the PlayStation 2, either pick up this one or the third one. The third one's a little bit different because it deals with you only can go into one dungeon versus this one. You can go into multiple dungeons, but once you finish the dungeons, you can't go back, or no, you can't go back to them. But once you finish the dungeons, they kind of just serve as kind of little grinding areas and whatnot. But it's still a decent title all in all. And then when I was growing up, my mom ended up picking me this up for the GameCube. It is phenomenal. I'm going to say that all these games are great, but it's just my personal opinion. So, I mean, if you have your own opinion, leave your own comment and speculations on what you thought about these games. But this is Bat and Kato's, Eternal Wings, and The Lost Ocean. When I first booted this game up, it looked gorgeous on my GameCube. The card systems that you basically everything you get in the game, whether they be healing items, camera, swords, anything you would use in battle, you use in essence of cards. You can grab a flame off from like a torch and put it in an essence of a card, which you get like these gold cards that you use for different quests and whatnot. But just looking at the back of this, I know it's a little blurry, but just some of the areas, like this one right here, this is I think the third or fourth area you go to, just look beautiful. It is a little bit linear because once you hop from island to island, because they are islands in the sky that you end up visiting, and you're trying to stop this great calamity with these end magnuses, and that's what they call these cards, or magnuses. But once all of them are collected, this great evil will basically destroy everything, and you as the character have to go and try and defeat this. Well, in this world, everybody has wings. Well, your character ends up only having one wing, so of course he can't fly. So one of the character's relationships, I think it was his grandfather or someone that he knew, ended up building him a mech wing, which is this right here. So he's able to fly, because since the islands in the sky are floating, everybody kind of adapted to flying, versus when the Earth was all together. And that's why it says the Lost Ocean, because there's a story in the game where it talks about how there were no floating islands, and then this big old war happened, and all the cities that these islands are on flew to the sky. Now, when I first got my Xbox 360, there was only one game that I got, and I am so happy that I picked this up, because it is one of my favorite first-person shooters, and that is BioShock. I know it's backwards, but it's BioShock for the Xbox 360. I played this game to death. Just the story alone was amazing. Would you kindly? If you know the reference, you know it's from this game, because it was an amazing game. Between the plasmids, which is kind of like your magic that you got, and then just the sheer amount of weapons you got, whether they be pistols, shotguns, harpoons, and the different kind of ammos that you got for them, were pretty unique for the time, at least in my opinion. And then, of course, with the big daddies, which are these guys right here, and then you got the little sisters right there, you would get what was called a plasma, which you would get from the little sisters, which is in these little tiny vials, if you can see. And you could either choose to save the little sisters, or you could kill them and get more plasmid. To get these, the plasmid, or the plasmid powers, whether it be like shock or a swarm of bugs, which was awesome. And you could also use like the electricity, since the game is is set place underwater, and you're this dude that ends up going down for a job or something like that. It's been a minute since I picked up this game, but the city's called Rapture, and you have to fight these big daddies to be able to even attempt to see the little sisters, to upgrade your stuff. And then there was also these like little stations that you would use to upgrade your weapons, and every time you go to one, you'd get one upgrade per weapon. And of course, each weapon had multiple upgrades, whether it be bigger ammo, uh, shock resistance to like the shotgun, and of course, it would add little things to the weapons every time you would upgrade. Well, you'd have to find every single one to be able to upgrade all your weapons, which I thought was a nice little touch. And of course, there are plenty of secrets and little hidden goodies all around the maps, and of course you could go back and forth between different areas. Whereas in like the second one, once you ended the area, you wouldn't be able to go back, which I thought was all right, but they added a lot more in the second one. But I enjoyed being able to go back in this one. But I sunk so many hours into this game; it's just phenomenal. Now, one I wish I would have had when I was a kid, because I was big into Digimon, like super big, that I had to buy the first season, the whole first season, because I am a nerd for Digimon. I even got all 6 of the Tri movies, but I wish I would have got this when I was a kid. But that is Digimon World. I've been playing this a little bit, haven't gotten too far into it, but just the nostalgia alone, I'm enjoying it a lot. I mean, I can't really say too much because I haven't really gotten that far. And I thought the nice little touch that they had in the case is that they actually gave you the map in the game case, which was awesome. And of course, this is on File Island, which deals with Season 1, where the kids first get sent. And in this one, you get thrown into the little Tamagotchi old school Digivices that they made to cater for the boys for their Tamagotchis. If you don't know what a Tamagotchi is, they're basically little virtual pets that were for girls. And then, of course, the Digimon was the boy aspect of that. Even though a lot of people think that Digimon is a ripoff of Pokemon, it actually isn't. It is their their attempt to cater to the boy side. Now, the first game one of the first games that I got for my PlayStation 3 was Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. Now, this game, oh my god, because I love the Studio Ghibli games, or the movies, like Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service, Spirited Away. They were phenomenal movies. And when I found out that Studio Ghibli and Level 5 did a game, I had to get it. And I was not disappointed. It is a little bit slow off the start because you have to play about 10 hours to unlock all the features, but it is totally worth it. Once you get into this world, it's amazing. You're a little boy named Oliver, and your mother ends up becoming sick, and you end up going to this other world. And you meet, well, before you go to this other world, you meet your stuffed animal turns alive and is actually a fairy named Drippy, which is phenomenal, which I thought was adorable. Well, you find out that you're a wizard and whatnot, and you have to save this other world, and this other world is connected to your world. So basically you have to kind of go back and forth between the two worlds, because when there's a conflict in one side, you have to find their other counterpart in your world and find out why, and you basically take the hearts, like your kindness, the enthusiasms, like say if someone didn't have the enthusiasm like in the first area, you can't get into the city because the guard doesn't have enough enthusiasm. So you have to find someone with enough extra enthusiasm to give him some enthusiasm so that he will let you in, which I thought was great. And then of course it's kind of like a Pokemon aspect because you collect these little familiars, which they're adorable. And of course you end up leveling them up, and then you're able to metamorphosize them, which basically means to evolve them. And they go into 3 stages. You get your first one, then it goes to a second one, and then that second one branches off into 2 different types. And you can't go back and forth. So once you pick your evolution, you're stuck with it. So, I mean, there's only like 1 or 2 familiars that you're only able to get one of. So, I mean, most of the time you can go back, and if you really enjoy the game, you can collect them and collect them and collect them and constantly evolve them, which I thought was pretty dope. I'm only missing a few because I love the game. I've put in a good 120 hours. And then a new game that I just got actually the other day, and I haven't put too much time into it, but I have played a Dragon Quest game before because I have it for my DS. But I end up Oh, let's see. Give me 1 second. First Dragon Quest game I ever played was Dragon Quest IX: Sentinels of a Starry Sky for the DS, and I loved it. I didn't put that much time into it because I ended up getting rid of it because at the time I just wasn't a huge collector. But I just picked up Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest 11: Echoes of an Exclusive Age, and it's beautiful. The only gripe that I've heard about was the sound, but I'm not really too picky when it comes to the music. As long as it sounds decent, but it plays phenomenal and looks pretty decent for its respective time, I love it. But this game, so far, you find out that you are a reincarnation of the Luminaire, which is a hero that destroyed a great evil, and it is your job to basically, since you've appeared, there's some people in the world think that the great evil is on its way back to destroy the world, and of course, since you're the Luminary, you know that that's true, and that you're going to have to face what's coming. Haven't gotten any of the new characters yet, because like I said, I've only put in about maybe 3-4 hours for the simple fact that I just got it like 2 days ago. But from what I'm playing it, I have played, I am loving it. And then I do have Monster Hunter World. I just don't have it next to me, and I'm not gonna just move to go get it even though it's over there. But I would like to talk about at least one Monster Hunter game, since I am a big Monster Hunter guy. Still working on getting the old PlayStation 2 games, but this is Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate for the 3DS. And of course, if you've ever played a Monster Hunter game, it's all the same thing. You go out, you collect things, you kill monsters, you take their parts, and you create armor, you create weapons, and you rinse and repeat. A lot of people think that that's kind of boring, but in an aspect from my point of view, I enjoy those kind of games because the grind never gets old, in my opinion, because the variety and the monsters that you fight are amazing, and then having to adapt to, say, the Rathalos, which is a dragon-like monster that can fly, versus the what's it called? We'll just go with Anorith, I think it's called. The T-Rex looking one in Monster Hunter World. Of course, since it has 2 legs and no wings, it fights completely different than, say, the Rathalos, which can fly and try to swoop at you and all this other stuff. And of course, you can tell that I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 because I have a 10-2 poster behind me, which those are great games as well. Well, it's been about 18 minutes, so I think I'm about to wrap this up. So hopefully, if you guys enjoy this content, even though I'm fairly new at it, and you want to see me do another video, please hit like, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time.